Hello and welcome to our show, Health and Wellness, Myth versus Facts. I'm Gargi Rawat. The pandemic has put mental as well as physical health and wellness into sharp focus. Throughout the COVID pandemic, several coronavirus variants have emerged as the virus SARS-CoV-2 continues to mutate and evolve. In November 2021, a variant of the coronavirus emerged and was named Omicron by the World Health Organization. Now, even if we have a virus that causes less severe disease, this virus can affect the vulnerable and unvaccinated population, and people with chronic diseases need to be careful about the management of their conditions during this phase. Hypertension and type 2 diabetes are commoner comorbidities. Hypertension is twice as frequent in patients with diabetes compared with those who do not have diabetes. And right knowledge is key in prevention of both conditions. If you're suffering from both conditions, the right knowledge can help you control it better. We have with us experts to give us the right guidance. We're joined today by Dr. Kanhaiya Agrawal, Hormones and Diabetes Care, Gorakhpur, and Dr. Hemant Kumar Behera, Director and Chief, Department of Cardiology, Medicover Hospitals, Visakhapatnam. Thank you so much, doctors, for sparing your time and joining us on the program today. Now, Dr. Agrawal, I'd like to start with you. How many strains of COVID are there? When is a variant tagged as a variant of concern? If you could explain to the viewers.
Thank you for such a good question. So we see that when we have COVID pandemic declared, so we have novel coronavirus SARS-CoV-2. After that, various mutations seen in the spike protein, and lots of variants were seen at different part of the world. Later on, we had the Delta variant, which we faced our second pandemic in the month of April to May in year 2021. So we faced that this was again a very serious variant. So after that, again, we are seeing another variant is the Omicron variant. So this is also important that this variant is important to have more serious infections. So we see that there are lots of variants are there: Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Omicron, or novel coronavirus are there. So your second question is about variant of concern. So we see that variant of concern is such a variant of coronavirus, which we see that high rate of transmissibility, and they have more serious infection. And you also see that the vaccination, which a prior vaccination, is not going to prevent such a serious infection. So patient may have infection, but they can be prevented with serious illnesses. But we see that they again have the more chance of infection. So these are the about a variant of concern which you asked me in this question.
Right. Dr. Behera, if the Omicron coronavirus variant seems to produce milder symptoms and fewer hospitalizations than the Delta because of vaccination. Now, is it because of vaccination or the type of variant it is? If you could explain to us.
Yeah. Thank you, Gargi, for this question. I really been delighted to talk to you, first of all, because I have been hearing for a long time, but I'm getting a chance to talk to you. Gargi, as you rightly already, your introductory remark was so fantastic. You have been covered all the part of this, what the talk would be. So I actually, basically what I'm going to highlight here is, let's be very clear. This Omicron is not at all a mild variety. Definitely, yes, we are very lucky to have less infectivity, less seriousness of the disease, but it is very highly contagious and very high infectivity. So it has been seen that those who are vaccinated, they are pretty protected well. But what of the unvaccinated people or those who are sick people? They're at very, very high risk. We can't ignore this virus that is thinking that's a mild variety. It has been killing, and it has been seen in US or UK. It is well demonstrated how the killing spree of this virus is, and definitely it is the same killing instinct with us too. Luckily, we have a biggest weapon we have, that is called vaccine. So whatever vaccines we have in our India, they are highly productive, as effective and safe. So we must not be callous or casual attitude towards this virus. Especially those who are not vaccinated, they must be vaccinated as soon as possible to protect their life. I'm just appealing once again, let's not ourselves surrender to the virus. This virus is going to kill us. This is as potent as Delta virus. Unless until we vaccinate, we're not going to fight it back. So please vaccinate yourself, those who are not vaccinated. Thank you.
All right, well, we'll slip into a short break right now and continue with our discussions with the doctors about managing in these COVID times, managing one's health, and especially if you suffer from conditions like hypertension and type 2 diabetes. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Health and Wellness, Myths versus Facts, and we're talking about managing conditions in the face of the new variant of coronavirus, Omicron. Dr. Behera, are people with heart conditions more at risk from the new COVID strain? Which organs of the body will get severely affected by this new variant? Do we know, all this so far, or is this something still that we're waiting to know more about?
Fantastic question, Gargi. Actually, we all of us know that we are hearing last 1.5 years or 2 years, all these people, those are having comorbidities like heart disease, kidney disease, or any kind of debilitating disease, they're at high risk. Naturally, yes, because what is happening is our body is a state of inflammation because of various diseases. Because, for example, heart disease or diabetic or like chronic health diseases, they have basically, the body is in an inflamed state. So they have diabetes has caused some diseases to the cardiovascular circuit, or some kind of chronic diseases they have caused inflammation in the body. So already in an inflammatory state. When corona comes, it hits very hard because already our immune status is very low, and corona comes and makes body more inflamed and causing more complications. That is why those people who have heart diseases or kidney diseases or having cancer problem or having serious diseases, they are in a state of inflammatory state. So when corona adds on, it gives a complication. So this is why they are more riskier. So mind it, these patients were very high risk. They must be protected from the disease very well. They must be vaccinated. They must be protected. They must be properly advised to take care of this pandemic disease very effectively.
All right. Right, and Dr. Behera, people with the heart conditions are more at risk, and so we've spoken about the kind of risk that people are facing, and long COVID. We still don't know so much about Omicron, but how important is it to manage hypertension to reduce the risk of heart disease, and what would you advise people for better management of hypertension?
Fantastic. See, what we know about hypertension and heart disease, because hypertension is such a disease, it's just like another pandemic, has been well ignored by all across the globe. Let's talk about heart disease. Heart is the number one killer in the world. But who is the number one precursor of the heart disease? That is hypertension. Hypertension is the number one cause of the heart attack disease in the world. However, it has been well ignored all across the globe. If you see, 50% of people, they are not aware of their having hypertension within. And however, the control status, hardly 25 to 50%, they are in well in control state. And if you see our Indian status, 1 in 5 persons, especially adults, they have hypertension. That means the disease incidence or prevalence is so huge, which is contributing to the hypertension, heart attack disease to maximum. It's basically hypertension, nothing but a pressure disease. It releases pressure to various organs in the body, like the brain, the eyes, heart and kidney. 4 soft points in the body. They are always at rest. Because this hypertension always bombards these organs and causing various diseases like heart attack, heart failure, kidney failure, stroke or eye damage. And another thing, very premature aging. It's very, very important cause of the premature aging. People get dementia at a very early age because of hypertension. So hypertension is such a massive disease in the world, has been well ignored. We must know that normal blood pressure is 120, 80 or less than that. Once you go beyond that, the disease prevalence of this, what I told, is like this. So what you need to know is how to take care of the hypertension. So unless until you know that we have blood pressure, we can't take care. One must know their blood pressure status, how frequently they should check the blood pressure. If you are hypertensive, if you are not hypertensive, please make sure you are not going to have BP zone. You need to have a BP instrument in the house. It must be, BP must check regularly within 3 to 6 months of period of time. And what about the preventive part? We must know how to prevent this hypertension.
We must have a proper lifestyle to be followed to tackle this hypertension. What we call lifestyle actually? Lifestyle is a set of skills, I mean, it's the basic things I would say. We must have a proper diet, proper sleep, proper exercise, and relaxation activities. This is 4 things. So we must know that what is called diet. Diet is not equal to food. This is diet is a principle. How to take the food. Basically, it means that is quality of food, quantity of food, and timing of the food. Almost all of us, we do wrong things in this timing of the food or quantity or quality of the food. We are interested in knowing the food, what food we are going to take, but we don't know how to take the food. Morning, lunch, and evening time well defined, 8 to 8 o'clock. Time is well defined, but we do not follow these principles. Ultimately, we'll end up in various complications. Not only with blood pressure, we get diabetes, we get obesity, we get stress, we get sleeplessness, we get variety of diseases because of a lifestyle problem. So lifestyle is the first things to be tackled. So it must be well addressed in our daily lifestyle, and daily life. And next part is treatment. We must be treated well by the proper doctor or proper physician to get properly guidance and follows. So basically diabetes, blood pressure has to be prevented, it must be controlled, and if blood pressure should be maintained across the whole lifetime. So the hypertension is not a simple disease, it's a massive disease. We must have a proper attitude to look at it and get proper guidance to control it.
All right, Doctor. So, this tension remains very much a difficult issue for many people, and, many people are facing hypertension. So everyone feels and reacts to stress in different ways. How much stress you experience and how you react to it can lead to a wide variety of health problems. Can acute stress and high blood pressure cause a heart attack? If you could, explain that to us.
Yes. Stress is absolutely, this is one of the biggest problem across the world. Stress, basically what we know about the stress is some state of negativeness in the mind. So if you look at stress is causing the whole variety of diseases across the world. If the stress is more. Actually, the little stress is always good. It can be boosting towards our health. But when the stress becomes more and chronic, then things goes worse. It's going to hit very hard, not only the body, it affects the mind and soul. So whole thing gets into error when the stress becomes more. So unless until stress is well managed, we are going to have variety of complications in life in form of variety of lifestyle diseases, like I mentioned, hypertension, diabetes, our obesity, or stressful personality, we have sleeplessness, we have ulcer disease, we might have sexual dysfunction, we might have various mental diseases. So definitely stress release is very, very important in your life. We must understand what kind of stress we are going through, and little stress is okay, but chronic stress, please make sure well guided by a proper physician or a psychologist to get properly guided, so that we can come out of the stress. So always we should have attitude to feel the comfort within. If you are feeling stressless within, then definitely we're going to be more productive. So when you are tackling with stress, always mind how much stress I'm bearing with, whether the days I'm going to enjoy or not. If you are not enjoying, definitely you are adding on more stress to our life. So we must look at our within, whether stress is causing to harm to me or not. If the stress is having, definitely it's a time to look at your within, and you must be properly guided to be out from the stress. So definitely stress is going to have a bigger impact in life unless you take care of it.
All right. Well, we have Dr. Agrawal there back with us, and let's go across to him. And Dr. Agrawal, we were talking about hypertension, and the internet is flooded with different types of diets, such as hypertensive diets, diabetes diets. Can you advise our viewers about, what kind of diet is good for people with diabetes and hypertension?
See, the diet for each patient is individualized. So we cannot make a common plan to all. But one most important thing is that all the diabetic and hypertensive patients should take the high amount of fiber diet, and they should divide their total calorie intake in around 3 major meal and 3 minor meal, that we say the snacks. So starting from 7 to 8 in the morning, they can have a small snack, then have a good meal at 10 a.m., then at 12 noon, have snacks. Then over the period of time, they can divide the total calorie in the day. So the most important thing is that they should not have any symptoms of hypoglycemia. When they have, they should have some small carbohydrate intakes, and they should keep the glucose candy or glucose powder with them so they can prevent from the hypoglycemia symptoms. Along with that, they should not also take the juices which contain the high amount of the fructose that can surge the blood glucose level. So the fruits is good, but the seasonal fruits should be taken, but not the such fruits which have the high amount of carbohydrate, like mango should not be taken, like grapes cannot be taken. So papayas, which is semi-ripe, guava can be taken, and also some kiwi fruits also there can be taken.
Right, and Dr. Agarwal, now people with both diabetes and hypertension need to take extra precautions to avoid complications. So what kind of precautions are advisable for people with diabetes and hypertension? How frequently should they measure blood pressure and, blood sugar levels?
See, that is also individualized depending upon the patient which medications they are taking. If they are taking the oral medications, then they can monitor the blood glucose level at least once in a week, both fasting state and post-prandial state, which is the 2 hours after the meal. And important thing is that they should take the medicine also, because when they skip the medicine for checking the blood glucose level, that means the blood glucose level may go high. When the patient is on insulin, then patient definitely has to monitor more frequently, like before meal and after meal also. So they should keep the blood glucose in the range. So definitely this range is also individualized depending upon the underlying comorbidity, when the patient having the chronic kidney disease or heart disease. So we are a bit relaxed for the blood glucose level, like we can keep the fasting at the range of 100 to 140. But when the patient is young, like when they have no comorbidity, then they can keep the blood glucose level at 80 to 120 level in the fasting state, and post-prandial state they can keep up to from 120 to 150 to 160 milligram per deciliter. And regarding the blood pressure monitoring, definitely at least once a week or once in a 10 days they should monitor the blood pressure. The most important thing is that they should sit quietly for 5 minutes. They should not talk in between, and the cuff should be wrapped around the arm. It should be firm. It should not be very loose or very tight. So that may give the erroneous values. So blood pressure should be monitored at least once in a week or once in a 10 days, depending upon the patient taking antihypertensive medications.
All right, and talking of hypertension, it often acts as a precursor to diabetes. So can you expand on what are the common causes of hypertension and diabetes, and how hypertension and diabetes are then linked to one another, Dr. Agarwal?
See, ma'am, this is a very important question. Actually, this is something like a common soil hypothesis. So both the hypertension and diabetes are originating from the same concept of insulin resistance or obesity. So obesity is a very important factor related to the insulin resistance, then it leading to the increasing in the sympathetic nervous system activity, which led to the more sodium absorption from the kidney level. So that will lead to the again increasing the blood pressure. And this insulin resistance also leading to the development of hyperglycemia. So obesity and insulin resistance is the most important factor. Another thing is that stress. The doctor told about the stress, which is the state of increasing the oxidative stress, that led to the damage of the beta cells, which leading to the decrease in insulin level, and also the blood vessels also become more resistant, so that patient may have the hypertension. So obesity, insulin resistance, and the oxidative stress, along with a poor lifestyle, that patient taking the junk food, they take meal at any time of the day, they get up late in the morning and they sleep late in the night. That is also a very important factor for development of such conditions.
All right, Dr. Behera, now can hypertension be cured? Can a person, stop medications if his or her readings are normal constantly for a week or 10 days?
It's a very practical question, Gabi. Actually, hypertension, we don't call it cured. We call it controlled. Because it's a continuous disease. It's not usually it remains non-stoppable. So the only thing can be controlled by our routine lifestyle modifications and the drugs or medications. So somebody can come down to a control level of blood pressure, for example, like 130, 80 or less than that. So they become very happy, they stop the medication. But the problem is the complication happens in the second week. Once the BP is, they thought of really nicely controlled, but suddenly BP goes very high in the second week, they come with various comparative complications like our stroke or heart attack. This is very bad. So nobody should stop the medications on their own unless until properly guided by the doctor, physician. It can be medications. I have so many patients have stopped, but they have been regularly in follow-up with me regarding the blood pressure status. Suppose someone wants to stop the blood pressure medications, they might stop, but every weekly they should check the blood pressure and notify and share with the treating doctor. So nobody should stop the medications and forget it. Majority of the patients will end up in complication in future days. So blood pressure must not be ignored at all. Every time, all the time, it has to be controlled. And lifestyle, as I told you, lifestyle must be properly maintained to have a blood pressure well in control all throughout the life. And if at all somebody has stopped the medications, let it be like weekly, monthly, or yearly to be recorded and notified. So BP must not be taken very lightly. Because it's going.
All right. Well, clearly, don't stop any medication without consulting your doctors first. That's the big message coming out as well. Thank you so much, doctors, for joining us on the program and answering all our questions. And thank you all for watching at home. Goodbye.